It was meant to be business as usual in Parliament, a day of debates, passionate speeches, and the customary grandstanding that South Africans have come to expect from their politicians. Instead, what happened was nothing less than a political earthquake, an event which has now become etched into the country's memory. Last Thursday saw a shocking turn of events as Deputy President Paul Mashatile was physically removed from Parliament after an explosive confrontation that stunned both ANC loyalists and opposition, for never before in recent times has a sitting Deputy President been dragged out of session under such humiliating circumstances. The chamber gasped, cameras rolled, and a single chaotic moment shifted the trajectory of South Africa's politics. The ANC, already shaken by scandal, corruption claims, and a disintegrating public image, entered the session of this week with delicate nerves, as factions inside the ruling party hang by a thread and whispers of insider sabotage grow louder with leadership fights spilling into the public sphere. Mashatile entered the chamber like a besieged man, shoulders tense, jaw clenched, eyes glaring at the opposition benches, knowing the questions were coming, but what no one expected was just how spectacularly he would implode. As queries started flying on corruption allegations, procurement irregularities, and breakdowns in service delivery, Mashatile's cool crumbled almost right away. He resolutely declined direct responses and snapped back with condescending rejoinders, attacking opposition legislators for playing cheap politics and grandstanding before the cameras. His voice was acerbic, his language poisonous, and before long the chamber erupted into pandemonium as shouts rose from the DA benches. The EFF jumped to their feet calling for accountability, and the speaker tried to re-establish order by calling on the deputy president to calm his words, but Mashatile only became increasingly belligerent. He pointed fingers at MPs, scoffed at their credibility, laughed at their questions, and his answers were not those of a statesman but the enraged rantings of a man trapped. For everyone who watched, it was a heart-wrenching plummet from grace. Once celebrated as the man who would someday replace President Ramaphosa, Mashatile was now disintegrating on national television. As the standoff grew more heated, opposition MPs hollowed him down with cries of "answer the question" and "accountability," but Mashatile would not give up the floor. His voice grew more boisterous, his tone more confrontational, and despite several warnings from the speaker, he disregarded them all. Eventually, in a dramatic and unusual step, the speaker exercised disciplinary powers and summoned parliamentary protection services, and the nation held its collective breath. Would the deputy president, the individual second only to the president himself, accept the order? The response was immediate: no. When security approached, Mashatile resisted, refusing to stand, arguing with officers, shouting at the speaker, and declaring he had every right to stay. For a brief moment, the chamber lay in stunned disbelief at the impossible thought that the Deputy President of South Africa would refuse to obey parliamentary rules. But disbelief soon gave way to chaos as security moved in and, in full view of MPs and live television cameras, Mashatile was dragged from the chamber. The picture will not be forgotten: the Deputy President physically dragged out, his power broken, his pride in tatters. Experts already call it one of the most embarrassing moments in contemporary South African politics. For Mashatile, the loss is devastating. His reputation, already questioned by accusations of arrogance and distance from common South Africans, is destroyed, while public trust, already waning for months, has now come crashing down. Murmurs of disquiet have developed into a national outcry. Social media went wild in minutes with hashtags questioning his fitness to lead, and most ominous of all is the silence of one individual, President Sir Ramaphosa, who, as his deputy was hauled off, remained still. No shock in the air, no effort to stop it, no attempt later to soothe public anger, and his silence has already proved incendiary. Some believe it to be cowardice, others to be complicity. Was this Ramaphosa keeping his distance from Mashatile, or was it a sign of an even greater internal conflict in the ANC? Either way, the chilling message sent to supporters and opponents alike was that the president was passive, the ANC frayed, paralyzed, and unable to govern with authority. Party members are in panic, With reports of emergency sessions and angry debates behind the scenes about what happens next, some call for disciplinary action against Mashatile, while others fear it would divide the party further. One insider said, "This is not just about Paul, this is about the whole ANC project collapsing before people's eyes." Opposition leaders did not wait to capitalize on the moment. DA's John Steenhuisen called it a disgraceful moment in democratic history, confirming that the ANC had lost all moral ground, while the EFF was more scathing, calling it the ultimate symbol of rot, arrogance, and illegitimacy of the ANC, with smaller parties seconding the opinion and warning that South Africa now risks instability as its governing party collapses. With elections around the corner, the timing could not be worse. The opposition has been handed a gold mine in the form of an indelible photo of the governing party eating itself alive, a photo that will haunt the ANC in campaign commercials, speeches, and debates for years to come. For the ANC, things could not be more serious. Its reputation is in shambles, its harmony in pieces, its leadership frozen, and now its deputy president has been embarrassed in the most humiliating manner imaginable. The real question is straightforward: can the ANC weather this? All South Africans in hindsight regard it as the start of the end for the party that once bore the country's hopes. To ordinary citizens, Mashatile's humiliation is more than political theatre, it is symbolic of their own frustrations, as those suffering from unemployment, poverty, and failed services see in this pandemonium a reflection of their own plight. If the bosses at the top cannot even rule themselves with decorum, how can they ever rule the nation? South Africa is heading into treacherous waters, a deputy president shamed, a president mute, a governing party in shambles, and an opposition waiting for the knockout blow. The political terrain has been altered overnight and will forever remain altered. Smash that subscribe button now and hit the notification bell so you never miss a second of this developing story.